Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Flash episode 16 video. It's kind of like part 2 of episode 15, but it was really a rogue episode. Main attraction being Golden Glider, aka, or Peyton List from the Tomorrow People. I know we're all really hoping that Robbie Amell is going to guest star in the same episode that she guest stars in next time. The Rogues are rumored to be coming back later this season. I think it's episode 21, but I'll talk about that after I get through episode 16 stuff. Hands down, one of the most quotable episodes of The Flash so far. And in case you guys didn't know, the person that wrote this episode, Kai Wu, is the same person that's writing the Flash Season 0 comic book. She's like the resident rogue expert on the Flash staff right now. So I'm looking forward to her coming back in Season 2 and writing a whole bunch more rogue episodes and bring some new rogues on the show. I know everyone wants to see Mirror Master, but careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen it yet. Starting with top 5 moments. Number 5, Barry explains to Harrison Wells that he ruptured the time continuum. I like Tom Cavanaugh's line, temporal reversion. You have to kind of bite your lip every time the Reverse Flash talks about the dangers of time travel, just because that's all he does is time travel. It's the pot calling the kettle black. And I know everyone's asking about Black Racer. That wasn't him at the end of the episode, but I'll explain that later in the video. Hands down, my favorite quote from the episode, though, was when Wells said, "Whatever tragedy you think you avoided, time will find a way to replace it." Last week we learned Eobard Thawne is trying to get back to his own time. We don't know exactly what his grand plan is other than getting back. We don't know if he's trying to save his dead wife, if he was lying about her. I don't think he was, because he had that big speech about choosing between two people that you love. It just got way more complicated, so we'll just have to open up a couple more tabs in Chrome for a couple more weeks. Also, I know everyone's wondering how they explain time travel in the episode, because there weren't two Flashes in the past. It seems like Grant Gustin either merged with his past self, or it was like a transfer of consciousness. If you want to get really specific when talking about time travel, a lot of people say, physically time traveling is impossible, scientifically. Days of Future Past is slightly more logical based on our understanding of time and space right now. So let's just say the Flash is going with Days of Future Past rules. I know it doesn't explain why Grant Gustin is punching someone else in a Flash costume just like his. It could be another version of him from the future or the past, or it could be someone masquerading as him. Either way, for episodes 15 and 16, time travel, Days of Future Past rules. That moment where he locked Weather Wizard up, like where he just rushed him right into the prison, that was so Scooby-Doo. I don't know when we're going to see him again on the show, but because Harrison Wells teased the idea of a cataclysmic level event, I think that's going to be part of the season finale. And episode 21 is called Rogue Air. Because it invokes some themes of the elements, I think that Weather Wizard might be back in that episode too, along with the other rogues. On to number 4, meet Cisco's brother. Watching them go at it was so much fun. It was touching to see them reconcile by the end of the episode, but I am so happy that the show is taking the time to build out these other characters. They all come from somewhere. I mean, they have lives outside of Team Flash. That's a big part of what makes their characters interesting. Learning all about this competitive relationship with his brother really informs Cisco's pathos. It gives you an idea of why he works so hard. I mean, yes, he does enjoy it a lot, like all the Slurpees and all the naming villains. But most of the work he does doesn't even happen on screen. Like when he was building the guns, that probably took him a long time to build those. On to number 3, the Rogues are back, and we get to meet Captain Cold's sister, Lisa Snart. It's so much fun watching them on screen when they're together. That scene with the Santini mob boss when they didn't have the guns was just to show that they're just as dangerous without the guns as they are with the guns. Doesn't Dominic Purcell's performance as Heatwave remind you a little bit of Gorilla Grodd? It's just so much fun to watch him be crazy. Peyton List, great actress. I'm so happy that she's part of the Flareverse now. She did talk a little bit about her character before the episode aired. It's just when they were looking to cast the character of Golden Glider, because they cast Dominic Purcell and Wentworth Miller, two, really big actors that have a lot of experience, they wanted an actress that would be able to go toe-to-toe with them. So you can think of this version of the Golden Glider as closer to the New 52 portrayal. Slightly more villainous, but I think as we see the character more, we'll learn more about her history. She'll get a little more sympathetic. This was just like the first taste of Golden Glider. I like that she thinks of herself as pretty and toxic. What are your intentions with my sister, Cisco? Captain Cold seems like he's on a first-name basis with everyone. And how about the scene where she entraps Cisco? That was so great. Carlos, the actor that plays Cisco, talked about his character potentially getting a love interest in the future. I don't think that he was talking about this scene in the bar. I was wondering how the Rogues were going to get their guns back, and I'm kind of glad they did. But on to number 2, Barry and Captain Cold strike a bargain. Just to start with the big stuff first, this is actually a really important thing from the comics, a really important aspect of the Rogues. Rule number 1, you never kill a speedster. The way they did it in the episode was just a little broader, no killing anyone, but it's a big comic book reference. Captain Cold, as the name implies, is the one with the cool head. He usually reins people in when they get too nuts. Heatwave being at the top of that list. I know it seemed like there might have been something going on with Golden Glider and Heatwave in the episode, but in the comics, she really has more of a thing going on with Mirror Master, but he hasn't been brought onto the show yet. And finally, my number one moment, Harrison Wells in Cisco's final scene. I think when it's all said and done, Tom Cavanaugh's performance as the Reverse Flash will probably be the best villain of any comic book show, or really any drama period this year. The actor, Tom Cavanaugh, said that when he did kill Cisco in last week's episode, he was really sad to do it. He really does care for him, which is why in this episode, when he said the same lines, it was so touching. Consequently, when the other shoe drops and they do find out about Harrison Wells in the season finale, it's going to make things that much crazier and that much more fun. The dynamics have also shifted now because Barry's going to be the one investigating Harrison Wells. Cisco is probably going to back off. So here's my big question for you guys, relative to Cisco and the Reverse Flash, because he said that, he would help him in episode 15 when he thought he was going to die. And now Harrison Wells has kind of told him, you're kind of like my son. Do you think that Cisco is going to turn against Barry in the finale? Something really big is going to have to happen for Cisco to go against Harrison Wells now. Or Eobard Thawne, however you want to think about him. You can still call him Harrison Wells. My second favorite line of the episode was when Harrison Wells said, making a choice between two people you love, that's the hardest dilemma you'll face. He was not lying, so I think the two people that he was referring to, that Harrison Wells was referring to, was his dead wife and Barry Allen. In the comics, Eobard Thawne idolized Barry Allen. He was like his role model his entire life. He didn't even become the Reverse Flash till he went back in time to try and meet Barry Allen, but accidentally ended up in the Flash Museum, learned that the Reverse Flash was a villain. That's what gave him the first push to become the Reverse Flash. So Harrison Wells has to choose who gets to live. Does Barry Allen get to live, or does his wife get to live? And remember all the things that he told Barry. Think about how many people might die if your mother had lived. Big Flashpoint Easter egg right there. Andrew Kreisberg actually said that they're building up to a really big comic book storyline. At first, I thought it might be Flashpoint. There are a number of other things they could do too. Like they could try and strip the Reverse Flash of his powers like in Rebirth, or any other number of things. I think I mentioned most of the Easter eggs already, like the Rogue's bargain, never kill any speedsters. I mean, obviously the episode did it a little bit differently. The Santini mob character, he actually appeared in a lot of Penguin stories, a lot of Batman Penguin stories. Golden Glider, obviously a big character in the comic books. One of the big differences between her character on the show and in the comics is that she doesn't use a gun. In the New 52 comics, she has more of an astral projection power. In the classic comics, she had ice skates that would generate ice that she would skate all over town on, kind of like Iceman from X-Men. At the end of the episode, whenever the Reverse Flash killed Iris's co-worker, he phased his fist through his chest. That's a big Flash move, phasing through objects. We haven't seen Barry do it yet, but he probably will before the end of the season. I know a lot of people wondered if that was the Black Racer. No, it was the Reverse Flash. It's just that, part of his uniform has a little bit of black on it. For those that are wondering, in the comics, the Black Racer only appears when a speedster is getting ready to die. A really good story to read, if you want to read up on the Black Racer, is just Flash Rebirth. I mean, it's a really big story about the return of Barry Allen. I would say if you're looking for comic book stories for the big WTF they might get to, like Flashpoint or something from Rebirth, really just anything from Jeff Johns' run. There's one Golden Age thing that they might do that involves the Reverse Flash, the Eobard Thawne Reverse Flash and Barry Allen, but I think it's going to be something big from Jeff Johns' run. Don't forget, next week's episode, Mark Hamill is back as the James Jesse Trickster. That's the character that he played on the original Flash TV show. It's the exact same character. Just imagine he's been in prison this whole time. Be sure to subscribe to get my video. I'll post it right after the episode airs. It's going to be so much fun. You have no idea. While you guys wait for that, you can click here for last week's episode, and you can click here to learn all about Wally West coming on the show in Season 2. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's all high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.